My child, come close. I need you to hear me about something that has been confusing you. Something that has been keeping you up at night, replaying in your mind, making you question yourself, making you wonder what you did wrong. Someone is gone, or someone is pulling away, or something's shifted in a relationship that used to feel certain, and you don't understand why. And because you don't understand it, you've been blaming yourself. You've been reaching back for what I have already removed. You've been grieving a loss that I authored, and I need you to stop. Because what looks like abandonment from where you're standing is actually my protection over your life. I need you to hear that again. What feels like loss is my hand of protection. I know that's hard to receive right now. I know it doesn't feel like protection. It feels like rejection. It feels like failure. It feels like loneliness wrapping itself around you at the worst possible time. You look at the empty space where that person used to be, and it hurts in a way that's difficult to explain to anyone else. Maybe it was a friendship you thought would last forever. Maybe it was someone you loved deeply, someone you prayed over, someone you sacrificed for, someone you would have done anything to keep. Maybe it was a whole community, a whole circle, people you trusted completely. And now they're gone, and you're standing in the silence wondering what it means. I'm going to tell you what it means. It means I love you too much to let what is poisoning you keep masquerading as a blessing. It means I see what you cannot see from where you're standing. It means I know the conversations that were happening about you that you were never meant to hear. I know the ways that relationship was slowly reshaping you, pulling you away from your purpose, pulling you away from your peace, pulling you away from me. You didn't notice it happening because it was gradual, because that's how destruction works. It never announces itself. It doesn't walk through the front door with a warning. It edges in slowly, wearing the face of friendship, wearing the face of love, wearing the face of loyalty, until one day you wake up and you are so far from who I made you to be that you barely recognize yourself. I saw it coming before you did, and I moved. Not because I don't care about your feelings, not because your pain doesn't matter to me. Every tear you have cried over this person, I have seen it. I have collected every single one. Your grief is real, and I am not dismissing it. But I need you to understand something about the way I work. I will always choose your future over your comfort. I will always choose your destiny over your temporary peace. I will always choose what is true over what feels good in the moment. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the most loving thing I can do for you is remove the thing you are holding on to that is holding you back. That person was holding you back. Maybe not intentionally. Maybe they weren't even a bad person in the grand sense. But they were wrong for you. Wrong for this season. Wrong for where I am taking you. The vision I have for your life. The calling I placed inside you before you were born. The doors I am about to open in front of you. They require a different version of you than the one that relationship was producing. They require someone who walks in confidence, not someone who has been slowly talked out of their own worth. They require someone who moves in faith, not someone who has been surrounded by voices of doubt and smallness and fear, dressed up as wisdom. They require someone who knows who they are in me, and that person was making you forget. So I removed them, because I refuse to let you be destroyed quietly. I need you to understand something about my nature that religion sometimes gets wrong. I am not passive. I am not a God who sits back and watches you walk into things that will damage you and does nothing. I am active. I am involved in the details of your life. I am the God who parts seas and closes the mouths of lions and sends angels ahead of my people to prepare the way. And I am also the God who quietly closes doors, redirects paths, and shifts relationships so that my children are positioned for what I have prepared. I don't always explain it when I do it. I don't always give you the memo in advance. Sometimes I just move, and I ask you to trust me in the aftermath. This is one of those times. Trust me in the aftermath. I know the hardest part is not having an explanation you can give other people. I know it's hard to say, God removed this person from my life without sounding dramatic, without sounding like you're spiritualizing a normal falling out, without people looking at you sideways. You don't owe anyone that explanation. What happened between you and that person, and between me and that situation, is not for everyone to understand. It is for you to receive and walk forward in. Not every pruning comes with a press release. Not every closed door comes with a detailed reason. Sometimes I just ask you to trust that if I closed it, it needed to be closed. And if it needed to be closed, there is something better ahead of it. There is something better ahead of it. I want to talk about the patterns I was watching, because I think if you're honest with yourself, part of you already knew. Part of you already felt the drain. You just loved that person too much to name it, or you were afraid of what the truth would mean, or you had already invested so much that admitting it wasn't right felt like failure. But you felt it. You felt the way you had to shrink yourself to stay in that space. You felt the way your peace left the room when certain conversations started. You felt the exhaustion after spending time with someone who was supposed to fill you up. You felt the subtle erosion of your confidence, your joy, your sense of calling, and you kept pushing through, kept praying it would change, kept believing that if you just loved harder, it would get better. I saw you loving harder. I saw you trying, and I honor that. But love is not supposed to cost you your identity. Loyalty is not supposed to cost you your peace. Relationship is not supposed to cost you your purpose. And when it does, when the price of staying becomes the loss of who I made you to be, that is the moment I intervene. And I intervened. Now I need to talk to you about what comes after, because the removal was not the end of the story. It was the beginning of a new chapter, and I need you to resist the urge to go back and undo what I have done. I know the loneliness is loud right now. I know the silence left by that person feels enormous. I know that when you scroll past a memory, or drive past a place you used to go together, or find yourself in a moment you would have shared, the ache is real. I am not asking you to pretend it isn't. I'm asking you not to let the ache make your decisions for you, because pain has a way of making the past look better than it was. Pain has a way of editing out all the moments that were actually hard and leaving only the warm ones, until you're convinced you made a terrible mistake by letting go, when really, you were finally set free. You were set free, even if it didn't feel like freedom. Freedom doesn't always feel like a celebration at first. Sometimes it feels like disorientation. Sometimes it feels like grief. Sometimes it feels like wandering, like you lost your footing and you don't quite know who you are without that person, or that group, or that dynamic that had become so familiar. That disorientation is not a sign that something went wrong. It is the feeling of a soul adjusting to open space after being confined. It is the feeling of lungs expanding after breathing shallow for too long. It is growing pains, and growth is exactly what is happening in you right now, even when it feels like collapse. I am doing something new in you in this season. I am building in you a security that does not depend on who is in the room. I am building in you an identity that cannot be taken away by someone's rejection or departure. I am building in you a confidence that is rooted in what I say about you, not in the validation of people who were never assigned to carry your destiny anyway. The loneliness you feel right now is a classroom, and what I am teaching you in it is so essential to where you are going that I could not let that relationship continue to be a distraction from the lesson. Pay attention to what I am building in the quiet. I also want to address something you haven't said out loud, but that has been living in you. The question of whether you are too much, whether you are the problem, whether there is something about you, the way you love, the way you believe, the standards you hold, the calling you carry, that makes you difficult to be around. And you've been entertaining the idea that maybe if you were just a little less, a little quieter, a little more accommodating, these things wouldn't keep happening. I need you to shut that thought down right now. You are not too much. You are exactly what I made you to be. And yes, that means you will not be compatible with everyone. That means there will be people who cannot handle your faith, your growth, your standards, your light. That is not a flaw in your design. That is the design functioning exactly as intended. Not everyone was built for the level of life I am calling you into. Not everyone can go where you are going. And the sooner you stop trying to make yourself smaller to keep people comfortable, the sooner you will begin to attract the relationships that are actually built for the road ahead. The right people are coming. I am not removing people from your life and leaving you empty. I am clearing space. I am making room. I am removing what is counterfeit so that what is genuine can find you without competition. There are people already in motion, people I have prepared, people who will love you without requiring you to diminish yourself, people who will call out what is in you rather than quietly bury it, people who will sharpen you, challenge you, pray with you, and go with you into the things I have planned. They are coming, but they could not come while the wrong ones were occupying the space. So the removal was preparation. It was not punishment. You have not done anything wrong. You have not fallen out of my favor. You are not cursed or forgotten or being disciplined for some failure you need to identify. You are being prepared. You are being positioned. You are being cleared and cleaned and strengthened for something you cannot yet see, but that I have seen from before the beginning of time. Your life has a design. That design has a timeline. And in this season, the timeline required a clearing. Trust the clearing. I want you to walk forward from this moment with your head up, not in denial of the pain, but in faith that the pain has a purpose. I want you to stop rehearsing what was said, stop replaying what went wrong, stop auditing every interaction, looking for the moment you could have saved it. That chapter is closed, not because you failed, but because it was finished. And a finished chapter is not a failed chapter. It is a completed one. It served what it was meant to serve. You grew what you were meant to grow. And now the page is turned. What is on the next page is worth everything you walked through to get there. So rise up. Release what I have already removed. Open your hands. Stop clutching what I have taken out of them. Let your heart heal without rushing back to what broke it. Let the new thing come. Let the right people come. Let the new season come. And trust that the God who loved you enough to remove what was destroying you is the same God who loves you enough to replace it with what is truly meant for you. You are not alone in this. You have never been alone in this. I am with you in the clearing. I am with you in the quiet. I am with you in the rebuilding. I am with you in every step of what comes next. And where I am guiding you, the people there, the purpose there, the peace there, it is going to make complete sense of everything that had to be removed to get you there. Hold on. Walk forward. Trust me. I removed them because I love you, and I love you too much to let anything or anyone destroy what I have destined you to become. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, He prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. John 15:1-2. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose. Romans 8:28.